Welcome back for our last segment of the show. This is The Point, and my name is Anthony, and I am your host. Today I'm seated with COUNCIL-DERRICK, and we are talking money laundering. We've talked at length about some of the sources of money laundering, the consequences, and what should be done by government in order for us to overcome this evil act. Now, COUNCIL-DERRICK, you talked about the amendment that is in Parliament recently, and what is being amended? It looks like a law is very young at the moment. Does it already call for amendments?
Actually, with what's going on globally, I think we should have had thousands of amendments in the law to keep it up, to keep it updated to the trends that are happening in the money laundering world. Now, actually, there are two bills in Parliament. There are still bills in Parliament, and I hope legislators would do Ugandan a service to update these laws, or to make these laws to be compatible with the trends that are going on in the money laundering world. However, the laws try to introduce a definition of who a beneficiary is, in a beneficiary or an agent, a mulling agent, who, and the obligations that are bestowed on the beneficiary to ensure that no money laundering happens. Lawyers have been targets because we are, our firms are almost hedge fund managers. We receive lots of money on behalf of clients, and at times we normally know the source of funding and the nature. So we are required under the law to expand and keep registers of these clients, their sources, and the purpose of the money. Normally clients come as investors, and they need legal advice, they need to introduce them to the market, and the law is providing for that. But also, what I've not seen in the bill is the expansion, not only limit money laundering to physical cash, to currencies. Cryptocurrencies have come up, cryptocurrency has come up, but to also include, give it a wider British definition, to include property. We can talk about wildlife trade. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry, money laundering industry in wildlife. Remember, it affects every time we have rhino horns, elephant tusks, pangolin scales, so many things, skins. The fashion industry through money laundering has wild game. So it causes a lot of losses to the tourism industry, which is almost the second foreign exchange earner for Uganda. So you must incorporate issues like drugs, caches of drugs, issues like minerals, gold, uranium, cobalt, diamonds. You've heard of the blood diamonds in Ivory Coast, and the likes. It should include things like timber, to give it a wider perspective, because you see, money laundering is about concealing. But it should, I should look at other amendments in the, I think there is an amendment in the Anti-Terrorism Act of 2022, a bill that is also in Parliament. It should also do Uganda's justice by ensuring that acts of terrorism are also covered by that law. But I also anticipate very many amendments in terms of the Companies Act to be much more tighter on aspects of registration and prohibition against shell companies that do not give returns. Then Uganda Revenue Authority, it's long time to have an amendment in the Income Tax Act and the Uganda Revenue Authority Act, but also to give much more powers to the Financial Intelligence Authority as the flagship agency in combating, but also provide for funding for funding, autonomy of the agency, independence, and funding for the agency to be able to execute this very, very important role in the management of our financial system. Money runs the world, it runs the economy. We need it. And every time we have leakages, then the hospitals will not help Ugandans, will not have good roads. Our security personnel will live in dire state, and then they will also become part of the gangs. We've seen people use police to evict people on land. It all spells out the issue that they are big people who have the influence, who are pulling the strings, and the security agencies are puppets. So government has to look at it holistically. It may come in actually even a constitutional amendment to enable us fight this vice of money laundering.
Well, talking about the Financial Intelligence Authority, agency, right?
Authority, yes.
Authority. So the authority has been in place since 2014, and there has been a lot, especially people really fear the authority, right? And it's revered as, you know, the agency or authority in charge of all these money laundering cases. But what is the mandate? To what extent? How much power does the Financial Intelligence Authority have? And when should I run to the Financial Intelligence Authority? Like you said in your discourse, that the people that are participating in this act are not small people. They are people with billions of money. They are people in big positions. So could the Financial Intelligence Authority be the safe haven for the public to run to in case of any acts of money laundering?
Like I said, I'm a realist, and the law, I look at the law as it is, not as it ought to be. Now, the structure of the Financial Intelligence Authority as it is may not serve the need for Ugandans to run to.
What is the structure right now?
The structure right now is an authority with less powers to speak to the big dogs. It's very, very impossible for an ordinary Ugandan to take their claim. They're not safe in the Financial Intelligence Authority. They may not be protected. In the wake of 9/11 attacks in the US, because of the issue, the new threat to global security of terrorism, they created what they call FISCA courts. Courts that did not operate as normal courts, to fight a vice that would bring an end to the world order as we see it. I told you earlier in our discussion that money laundering has the capacity to demobilize government. Now, it should be treated in a special way. The Financial Intelligence Authority should be given sweeping powers, like those that are given to FISCA courts. The Financial Intelligence Authority should be given policing powers to come without notice. Because if you give notice in the nature of money laundering, you will find destruction of evidence, of exhibits, shredding of paper trail, you understand, deleting of emails, crashing computer servers and all that. So, because the whole purpose of a money launderer, organized crime, is to wipe out their traces, to all the footprints relating to them. As long as they do, as soon as they complete their mission, they wipe out all their footprints, digital or physical. So you need people who are fast and swift. This should be a stinger operation. It should not be business as usual or a conventional way of policing, investigating. It cannot work if government is going to eliminate or prohibit money laundering. It won't work that way.
Then, okay, you brought in a very, very important aspect here. Recently, there was a Computer Misuse Act that was passed by Parliament, and seeing this coming down here as affecting, for example, the Financial Intelligence Authority work, because in the Act they state that you cannot take, for example, a video of someone or take an investigation without that other person's consent, and we kind of going against some of the principles that we are trying to also promote, because now the Financial Intelligence Authority will need, like you say, to move in swiftly, to move in secretly, and not be investigated, right? And these other acts that we are also bringing in, like the Computer Misuse Act, are counteracting that. What is your thought, first of all, on the Computer Misuse Act?
Now, what you have to do, you have to, one, laws are informed by the political nature, the political regime at the time, the mischief. What is government trying to solve at a particular time? If you're looking at money laundering, vis-a-vis, read it together with the Computer Misuse Act. The Computer Misuse Act is more like a gossip, a social media gossip. So they have no secrecy and all that. Now, why I said the Financial Intelligence Authority should be a stinger operation. It should come into action without notice. Now, rightly so, if I wanted to make a point, if there are laws that prohibit its operation because they are operating in a conventional way, then you will not achieve the results. We've had cases where the Financial Intelligence Authority, acting under intelligence, has closed down and frozen bank accounts of certain NGOs. And before you know it, the courts are issuing orders, unfreezing orders to freeze the operation of these accounts. Now, that's why I said it is important for government to look at an equivalent of the FISCA courts, to give them specific jurisdiction to handle this particular case, with specific judges trained in a specific area to handle the vice of money laundering. If you treat money laundering in a casual and conventional way, you lose the fight. Because every time you try to mount a challenge, every time the authorities, the Financial Intelligence Authority will mount a challenge, then the courts will be a great Chinese wall. This is a no-go area, you cannot go there. So you cannot achieve the results against a pandemic, a financial pandemic, like money laundering. You cannot apply paracetamol as treatment for stage 4 cancer. Not even steroids can work. Yes, not even insulin. You understand? This has to be tackled at stage 1 so that we do not reach a point of no return.
Thank you very much, Council Derrick, for the time and for such a wonderful insight that you've given to us. But as we conclude and we draw near, we wouldn't want to part without you giving Ugandans some of the tactics they can use to trace money launderers. For example, via land titles. How can someone, before probably buying land, get to know that I'm not buying this land from probably a person who didn't get it in the legitimate way, or if it's a car, I'm not selling this car to someone who got the money illegitimately. How can we spot on just some of those things that can actually indicate money laundering?
Now, I would advise Ugandans to seek services of lawyers before they enter into critical transactions. I will also highly implore Ugandans to do due diligence on corporate entities they are going to transact with, such as companies, and it's important you know the law, because this all rotates around the law. But there are also red flags. Tenants coming to rent and they are paying cash in dollars. Understand? You shouldn't look at the aspect of the dollars. You should look at the identity of your tenants, because you could be housing a potential terrorist. We've seen it happen here. Now, Ugandans should be law-abiding. They should always report suspicious red flags to the available authorities. It's important. It's a civic duty to ensure that everyone, but also Ugandans should be their neighbors' keepers. You should watch out. You should watch out for your neighbor, for any Ugandan, in cases of activities of money laundering. Then Ugandans should be civic enough, I'm sure, should be civic enough to demand for accountability in other aspects, to demand for corporations, most especially with the with the growth of foreign investors, Chinese, and then we hear issues, labor-related issues, labor exporting companies. We hear issues of organ harvest. Ugandans should be their neighbors' keepers. I implore Ugandans to be law-abiding, to work hard.
There's nothing free.
There's nothing free. One artist said, "Easy come,
Easy go."
Easy go. And the Baganda always say, "Ebi bete biala." So, laundered money can never give any person peace. As a Christian man, money laundering is a curse. Is a curse that falls over a nation. It's a cancer. It seeks to rob the people and take away lives and disrupt our way of life. It's important for Ugandans to know that you work because I am. So I want to thank our viewers for watching, and also the management of Smart 24 for inviting me, and you, Anthony, in particular.
Yes.
Thank you for hosting me.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That's it from COUNCIL-DERRICK LUFUNYA.
Yes.
And me, Anthony. Today, we've had a very wide discussion on money laundering. Money laundering, we've concluded, is concealing source of funds by, of course, investing in legitimate asset classes like real estate, mining, and so on. And so many government officials and regular people have been, of course, convicted of this, although some have not been brought to book. And Council here has just broken down some of the rules and regulations around the Anti-Money Laundering Act 2013 and the amendments that we should be looking out for as well in this law. And also taking you as an individual, making sure you take personal responsibility to know who your neighbor is, know where the property your neighbor, your rich neighbor who was a tenant yesterday and now is driving a Mercedes-Benz, get to investigate. How is this guy making money? It's sometimes not legitimate, and it comes down to you again, and probably you could be one of the people conspiring with him, knowingly or unknowingly. So it's a personal responsibility, but also government is encouraged also to enforce the laws that are in place and make sure we get rid of this evil act. My name is Anthony. Thank you very much for watching. You can follow the show at Smart24 TV on Twitter and get to like, also get to comment on some of the topics. I'll catch you next time, same place, same time. Bye for now.